Welcome again to the Metaphysical Art Theater. The silence. The power is in the silence. Be still and know that I am God, you're told. If you've got something better to do, certainly be about it. I know about busy, but you need to invest in yourself, for yourself. It's all attitude. The Him you doing, being, and having your ideal is with you. All the help you need, you're told, is nearer than hands and feet. Nearer than hands and feet. Well, I needed help. I said, well, I don't have time to sit and contemplate and meditate. I thought I needed to get things done, to push and shove. And then it was suggested to me that I do contemplation and meditation, but as I said, I had things to do. But there will be a time when you will find the time. Oh, there'll be a time when you'll know that it's time to deal with your own inner conversations, because where are they leading you, do you know? Well, they're creative. And as my teacher said so often, why get more knocks and blocks before you turn to turn within? You're the doer doing in your world of experiencing. You're thinking and feeling in your world of experiencing, and you're using the word, which is the power. You're speaking to yourself. Your self-talk is creative. What is your self-talk about? Well, you're doing so most of the time, but what are you saying? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Neville made it so crystal clear that imagining creates reality. Yes. Oh, I'm sure that you can figure how you would have done things differently, but this is a world of ideas, attitudes, and change. And you're given, change your mind and change your world. And time after time, we're being told to feel after better than the best. Do so consistently, persistently. And you'll see the results first person. I know you're not paying attention all the time. Who is? But most are at least suspicious of the open door. I know most are looking for someone else to do for them that which they know in their own heart they must do for themselves, or at least they're suspicious of it. Well, right where you are, those moments that you know, maybe just for a moment at a time you know that you can do, you can be, because there is you can whatsoever that's already been provided. Well, gifts given by grace to all of us. Learn to turn to and open and quicken, as my teacher had said so often, what you find agreement with. This is about you investing in yourself for better visions, better adventures. And that's what everyone is looking for. Nothing changes until you change. And you change your mind, you change your world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's the story. That's a story for all of us. I was so delighted in hearing this, and I would say, oh, yes to that. And other times I would say, well, I know about that, but I really only knew about it. And that's the difference that makes the difference. It is knowing from. Double-mindedness, lazy-mindedness, yes, I do know how relentless that is, but it still won't stop you unless you let it. Well, it created for me a very big problem, because now I had to actually do something. I actually had to ask, believing, receiving, and you are doing so. You are about asking. You are about believing something, and you are receiving in your everydayness. It's up to you to change your mind and change your world. We're told, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And yes, you can do this. You're given to do so. Why not do so? To see so for yourself so. Well, to ever greater and greater degree, just keep it simple so you'll remember it. I can easily stand here and tell you what were good to be done, as my teacher had said, but doing it is another thing, I know. But it does take our insistence, our persistence. Well, my problem all along was I just keep forgetting. I knew what to do because I had agreed with it. I had to constantly be being reminded, and that was the reason why I made cassette tapes in the first place. Well, actually, they weren't cassette tapes in the beginning. There was a really big, heavy machine, but it served the purpose. And now you have these wonderful little cassette and DVDs and CDs that you can play over and over. Very handy. But I'd still forget again and again. So you go back to same old so quickly when you forget. The idea is to remember what you have agreed with. Well, I wasn't into the idea of just sitting around trying to figure things out. I wanted better, yes. I always wanted to be a better person. I didn't even know what a better person would be that I would be looking for, but I had a general idea. But a general idea is not precise enough. It is the moving in and thinking from, dressing your world, that you're told to dress your world. See it in imagination. You doing, being, having your ideal. It's dreaming the dream. What would it be like if it were my ideal right here, right now? That what I'm looking for is looking for me. I didn't recognize what was being shared with me. I knew I'd heard something worthy of my attention, so I did learn to listen often, and I did keep listening, and I listened long enough to convince myself to actually test, to actually act in faith to test what I said I believed. I can make a flowery speech and tell you wonderful stories of other people's successes. But what it really comes down to is as you think you are, not how you came to think that way, not why it is you think the way you think, but that as you think, you are, you do, you have, you be. Well, you're given to change your mind and change your world. That is the message nightly. If you change how it is you think, you will change how it is you're experiencing. That's the promise. And yes, it is that simple. I didn't say it was easy. It's just that we're so conditioned. But if you'll feel after him, you'll find him, you doing, being, having. Just be patient with yourself. Nothing changes until you change. You're told, change your mind and change your world. This is a world of ideas, attitudes, and change. And you're given, change your mind and change your world. Yes, simple, yes, easy. Well, no one else needs to know what you're doing. There's no need to tell anyone. As a matter of fact, at first, I suggest that you really just keep it to yourself. Find a quiet place. Yes, just feel after better than the best. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. Go in the bathroom, sit on the floor as I did. And I would use earplugs. Well, actually, at first, I used toilet paper. Just to have moments of silence, moments of peace, that I could actually focus on better than the best, because the story is very simple. As within, so without. Your world is coming through you. It isn't coming to you. Well, even for moments at a time, if you can be focused for even moments at a time, it's a reason for celebration, a celebration of life, a revelation of finding. Because of the little peeking beyond the portal, that was enough to convince me to do it again and again, with greater fervor, with greater expectations, because that's what it's about. No, it's not something that's an effort to do. If you feel it's an effort to do it, you're missing the idea. You probably is. You're just not doing it right. You're not being patient with yourself. This is about being lifted up. This is a self in self and risen drama for all of us. Well, the power is in the stillness. We're told, be still and know that I am God. I mean, that's quite a challenge. But it's really worthy of your attention to do so, and you can do so. That's the challenge to all of us. The message is very simple. What are you feeling after? Do you know? All things are possible to the imagination. All things are possible to him who believes. And the question is, do you believe the promises of God? And the answer I usually get back is, oh yes, I believe in God. But that wasn't the question. Do you believe God's promises? Reiteration and reiteration. That's the style for changing your lifestyle. To be continued. Thank you, and good evening. Good evening, and welcome to the Metaphysical Art Theater's presentation of Change Your Mind and Change Your World. Are you aware of the mindsets you're operating from, really? I mean, it may be just a flash when you hear something that's a good idea. Hopefully, it's a positive idea. And if it's not, are you going to go down with it? Would you keep repeating in negative scenarios? You'll just go down with them. That what happened to me, Yeah. Well, you're just replanting those seeds again and again. Well, reiteration and reiteration so that you can keep track of what it is you are allowing yourself to think about generally most of the time. Because that will be your harvest. What you're thinking feelingly about isn't falling into the past. It is being projected into our futures. All things produce after their own kind. What are your seeds like? Your ideas. What kind is it that you're planting? Because what has your attention does have your life. Try and deny it. You don't have to believe any of this just because of hearing it. No, you're given to test it. It's suggested that you test all of this out for yourself, discern for yourself. Oh, I didn't understand most of what I heard in the beginning. Most of it just went right over my head. But what didn't, well, I just discerned it into dust generally. But I was hungry to know. I was resolute to know, first person. I knew that I had heard something that was worthy of my attention. But most of it, I just, as I said, analyzed its dust. What I'm suggesting is just check out what you say that you find agreement with in your own heart. I wanted it better. I wanted to know better. And some of it came to me, some of it came through me, and most of the time I don't remember which, and actually it's not important. It's what you do with it that counts. From this moment forward, I'm not here trying to take credit for anything. I'm here as a living witness. If you already know this, then you know that I'm just another witness. I'm not here as an example. I'm here as a witness. And the one thing I'm witnessing to is that there's more, and more being offered than we're availing ourselves of. Well, the story is, son, all I have is yours. All. I was instructed to do, to be, to have better in my own imagination, in my imaginal activity, in the theater of mind, and have I done so? When I did so, I received so. But most of the time I'd get distracted and forget where I was going or what I was doing. Mentally, yes. Or even just lost in thought. But what I'm witnessing to you is that your say is a valid say. You're about saying your valid say, and your world is reflecting exactly that. You can deny this. No, this is not about me, the man, Lindell, or anything I've done. I'm not here as an example, as I said. I'm here as a witness. Well, through the word that I received by the hearing of the ear first from my teacher, Neville Goddard. And then I began to act upon it. And you'll see that that's what this is. Then you'll be thinking better from better. Well, just see it to follow through. Well, you say you find agreement within your own heart, wherever you heard it from. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I don't have anything to join or to belong to or donate to. The messages that I heard from Neville Goddard were so simple, so clear, so powerful. Divine history, not just secular history. I mean, I already had plenty of complication in my life. I didn't need any complication. We all have enough, I'm sure. Well, generally when you sit in a silence, what do? Worry about something? Well, foreboding this and foreboding that, running off negative scenarios about this, that, or the other. If you're dealing with negative scenarios, well, actually, then you're dealing with things you really want to be rid of. Give them no attention. See, actually what you're doing, you're replanting them. Every time you run off a little negative scenario, you're replanting it. All things produce after their own kind. And then sometimes when you hear good ideas, good suggestion, you put it off till later. But then later comes and then you put it off again and eventually you forget it. Scenarios of this and scenarios of that, it's really not productive for the good life, that gloom and doom stuff. Why me? Why this? Why now? And then later it comes by and you have to put off the things again. Busy, 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 I understand that. No time to feel after. No time to invest in yourself for contemplation and meditation. For better than the best yet. You say you don't have time to contemplate and meditate, but you have time to suffer. You have time to feel bad mentally, physically. And if you're not living your life the way you really want to, that's suffering. And what you're given to do Well, if you can find time to suffer, why can't you find time to invest in yourself, living your life like you really mean it? When you say you can't believe this or you can't believe that, or you feel that this is impossible or that's impossible, contemplation and meditation will bring a change of mind. You'll begin to see things different. You'll find better than the best yet. Enough to discern for yourself better, to dream the dream better. You're told to dream the dream. I do hope you have a dream. Well, possible? Yes, it's possible to the one who's telling you, choose ye this day. You turn to me and I'll turn to you. If God turns to you, what would be your problem? You will be lifted up. You will be expanded. Well, what is it that you're looking for in your thinking and feeling? Well, it's an invitation from God. You turn to me, I'll turn to you. If God turns to you, it's you reaching beyond your present state of consciousness. Everyone is in a state of consciousness. It's reaching beyond that's important to a new state of consciousness, to dream things better than the best. Do so consistently, persistently, in imagination, in the theater of mind. Yes. Well, yeah, generally it starts as a daydream. I mean, just begin to be persistent, consistent, to follow through. Well, to really dream the dream. Until you can feel, I am that. Even for moments at a time, being it. That's the story. That's how it starts for all of us. Just start claiming the better than the best. Or you can just watch television. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with television. I think it's a wonderful invention. I think it's really very entertaining. I think it really has greater potentials than they're using it for. Yeah, I feel most of it's being wasted. Yes. Yes. It's all about our attitudes. Well, we're doing much the same thing in our own thinking and feeling process. We're creating, but are we creating things that are lovely and of good report? Something that's useful to ourselves and others? Is that really what it is we're doing? Sometimes it's just a simple idea. I remember working for this lady, and she told me that she had been going to a psychiatrist for years, and that the work that I did at her home as a contractor did more to lift her spirits than being on the couch for 2 years. You see, sometimes it can be something so simple. Just a walk in the forest, a walk in the woods, a walk by the ocean, a walk by the river, contemplation, meditation, feeling after, better than the best. And no, I'm not telling you have to go anywhere. It's all in mind. It's all with you right here, right now. There's no, and yes, the power is in the silence. Be still and know that I am God, we're told. In the stillness, yes. Complicated I didn't need. Just be still and know that I am God. And the message is, listen often. Reiteration and reiteration. That's the style for changing your lifestyle. To be continued. Yes. Thank you, and good evening.